Lee Van Cleef was born Clarence Leroy Van Cleef Jr. on January 9, 1925, in Somerville, New Jersey. He came of age during the harsh realities of the Great Depression, a period that shaped his resilience and determination. From an early age, Van Cleef showed a remarkable independence and discipline, qualities that would come to define both his personal life and his unforgettable screen presence. During World War II, he served in the United States Navy, an experience that instilled in him a deep respect for structure, duty, and perseverance. After the war, he turned his focus to acting, studying theater with the seriousness of someone who understood that true success demanded patience and grit. Van Cleef made his film debut in High Noon, 1952, a landmark Western that first revealed audiences to his striking features and quiet intensity. Though his role was small and largely wordless, it was impossible to ignore him. Hollywood quickly noticed his presence, but not always in ways that favored his career. His unconventional looks, now iconic, initially limited him to parts as outlaws, henchmen, or secondary villains. Throughout the 1950s, he appeared in countless westerns and television series, including The Lone Ranger, Gunsmoke, and Have Gun, Will Travel. Even in minor roles, he could convey menace and intelligence with a glance or posture, proving that subtlety often spoke louder than words. Despite steady work, Van Cleef's early career was defined more by persistence than stardom. A serious car accident in 1958 temporarily halted his momentum, threatening to stall his rise in Hollywood. Yet this setback became a turning point rather than a dead end. As opportunities in American cinema began to dry up, Van Cleef found new life in Europe, especially Italy, where filmmakers were transforming the Western genre with darker stories and morally complex characters. His collaboration with director Sergio Leone would change his career forever. Cast as Colonel Douglas Mortimer in For a Few Dollars More, 1965, Van Cleef finally stepped into the spotlight as a leading man. His performance was electrifying, calm, calculated, and deeply human beneath a steely exterior. Mortimer was no simple villain. He was a man driven by personal loss and guided by a strict moral code. This role allowed Van Cleef to reveal emotional depth and authority, earning him international recognition and cementing his status as a star. His success continued with The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, 1966, Day of Anger, 1967, and The Big Gun Down, 1966, where he played men who navigated the gray areas between justice and revenge. These characters, shaped by loss and survival, resonated with audiences because they felt authentic and lived in. Van Cleef never overplayed violence or heroism. He conveyed strength through restraint, giving his characters lasting impact. Beyond his sharp features and iconic roles, he was respected for his professionalism, discipline, and quiet dedication to the craft. In later years, he returned to American films, including Escape from New York, 1981, bringing gravitas and command to every role. Even as he aged, his presence only grew stronger. His personal life reflected the complexity of his characters. He married his first wife, Patsy Ruth Cayley, in 1943 during World War II, while serving in the Navy. They had 3 children, but the pressures of ambition and early career struggles led to their divorce in 1958. In 1960, after a horseback accident, Van Cleef married Joan Marjorie Drain. She supported him as he worked steadily in TV and film, often playing villains. Their marriage lasted over a decade, ending in 1974. In 1976, he married Barbara Havalone, bringing stability as his career soared. She remained by his side until his death in 1989. Known for his icy eyes and commanding presence, Van Cleef was more than a screen villain. He was a thoughtful actor. On his relationship with Clint Eastwood, he said, "People like to imagine that Clint and I were rivals, but the truth is simpler. We were 2 men doing our jobs, walking very different paths that happened to cross at the right moment. Clint knew the power of stillness," Van Cleef explained. "He didn't rush. He let the camera come to him. It was a rare skill, something you couldn't teach." When Van Cleef first worked alongside Eastwood in For a Few Dollars More, he recognized immediately that something extraordinary was happening. "You could feel it," he said. "The crew felt it. The audience felt it. Clint wasn't just playing a gunslinger, he was becoming a symbol. Yet Van Cleef was quick to emphasize that Eastwood's rise was no accident. He had crafted that image deliberately. He protected it. He understood that silence, restraint, and quiet confidence were his most powerful weapons. While Eastwood's ascent to stardom was swift, Van Cleef's journey took a more winding path, shaped by patience and persistence. Van Cleef spoke of his contrast with Eastwood without bitterness. Clint fit the American myth perfectly, he reflected. Tall, calm, heroic in a modern way. I didn't. My face told different stories. I was danger. I was the man you didn't trust. And that was fine. I learned to own it. Van Cleef saw his Italian cinema success as proof there's more than one path to greatness. I didn't need to be the hero, he said. I needed to be unforgettable. He rejected the idea that Eastwood overshadowed him, noting their contrast made for a few dollars more unforgettable. He admired Eastwood's professionalism. Clint showed up prepared. He respected the work. That's all an actor can ask of another actor. Reflecting on legacy, he said, Clint became a legend. I became a legend in a different way. People remember my eyes, my walk, my silence. That's a kind of immortality too. Despite serious heart disease from the 1970s onward, Van Cleef remained a commanding presence on screen. He worked until the end, refusing to let frailty diminish the fierce spirit that carried him from bit parts to international stardom. He passed away on December 16, 1989. Van Cleef collapsed from a heart attack in his home in Oxnard, California, a quiet and private setting that stood in stark contrast to the larger-than-life figures he so often portrayed on screen. Throat cancer was later cited as a secondary cause of death, underscoring the profound physical challenges of his final years. Yet even in passing, his story is not one of defeat, but of endurance, of an artist who continued to create, perform, and captivate audiences long after his body began to betray him. He was laid to rest at Forest Lawn Memorial Park Cemetery in the Hollywood Hills, a fitting home for a figure so inseparably woven into cinematic history. Etched on his grave marker are the words, "Best of the Bad," a simple yet powerful epitaph that perfectly captures his legacy. It is a tribute not just to his unforgettable portrayals of villains, outlaws, and anti-heroes, but to the artistry, intelligence, and charisma he brought to roles that might otherwise have been one-dimensional. Lee Van Cleef did not merely play villains, he elevated them. He gave them depth, intelligence, and a chilling elegance that audiences could never forget. In life and in death, he remains a towering figure of classic cinema, resilient, uncompromising, and forever the best of the bad. If you enjoy classic Hollywood stories, timeless glamour, and legendary stars, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Share your favorite old Hollywood icon in the comments, or tell us who you'd love to see featured next. Turn on notifications so you never miss a new deep dive into Hollywood's golden age.